Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Well, men are bankrupting the marriage industry. Now, you could say women technically are bankrupting the marriage system by not being worth marrying anymore. But it's usually women that decide the bedroom action and when that happens, and men that decide when they propose and when they get married. And men are not doing it nearly enough, so much so that David's Bridal, one of the largest retailers of wedding dresses and marriage stuff, is going bankrupt. And the only reason I say this is a win is because the laws overwhelmingly punish men for marriage, for divorce, for custody, all the things we talk about. For society as a whole, I think it's actually horrible. I think we should all want to have healthy marriages and spouses and children and having a good nuclear family. But that doesn't exist anymore. And a large part of it is because women have become unreasonable in their dating practices, in what they want for marriage. And at the drop of a hat, when things, just start going wrong, a lot of times the women will bail and they'll take their cash and prizes and walk out. So this is from Evie. They say David's Bridal files for bankruptcy and lays off more than 9,000 workers. Is marriage on the decline? Now, I'll read the article here in a second, but if you guys remember, I've been talking a lot about, in the finance world, zombie companies. They're companies that when the interest rates were really low, they could borrow money and, they were getting the money for free, so they could afford to keep open and continue to do their thing. Well, as those interest rates rise, that free money goes away, and the companies that need to actually make money and not borrow it, because you're going to have to pay it back, especially when there's a high interest rate attached to it, those companies are going to go out of business. So they may have floated themselves for a couple of years just because of the low interest rates, but no longer. They say it was estimated in 2022 that 61 million Americans are married. That's out of roughly 330 million Americans. Fewer than half of adults have gotten hitched, and there's an ever-growing number of never-married individuals aged 25 and older. Unfortunately, marriage has been on the decline for the last several decades. In the 1960s, about 85% of American adults with a high school degree were married, as were about 80% of American adults with a bachelor's degree or higher. Over the last few decades, marriage has changed from being a normal, expected part of adulthood to being an optional part of life that is even discouraged by our mainstream culture. David's Bridal, a popular chain of wedding gown stores across the country, might be feeling the consequences of a culture that doesn't value marriage much anymore. The company has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and just laid off more than 9,000 employees. And now, I'm sure that the CEO and all the upper-ups will continue to get their bonuses. That's probably why they laid off the 9,000 employees, so they could get some bonuses. But the truth of it is that, since the 1960s, we don't shame single mothers anymore. As a matter of fact, we cheer them on, calling them stunning and brave and wonderful and powerful. And on top of that, we don't. When the laws changed, and I want to say it was in the 1980s, and I think Reagan first did this out in California with the no-fault divorce. Man, once that started going through, everybody's like, well, if there's no fault and I can just walk away and I don't have to plead my case in front of everybody, I just walk away. And because of the way society's structured, the women usually end up with child custody. The women usually end up with alimony or child support. And so there's no punishment. Even if they're the ones that goof up and cheat or leave or whatever, it's the men that ultimately get punished. So of course, the marriage rates are falling off a cliff. They say David's Bridal LLC announced on April 17th it filed for voluntary petitions, et cetera, et cetera. They say the chief executive officer, James Markham, released a statement. Over the last several years, we've taken meaningful strides in our transformation to fulfill the needs of our brides today and tomorrow, successfully modernized, blah, 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 blah. But, 9,000 jobs, filing for bankruptcy 2 days later, and it's the end of that. And this is the largest company. Now, they do go on to say here that a lot of younger people are not getting married. They also say that Gen Z doesn't have the money for these expensive bridal, dresses, and they're they're finding alternative ways, but they're also just cohabitating more. They say here there are other factors to consider, such as the fact that millennial and Gen Z brides tend to prefer reusable wedding dresses or even non-conventional wedding dresses that aren't usually found at stores like David's Bridal. The younger generations are also known to spend much less money on weddings. Between 2013 and 2018, bridal store revenue actually declined. This is partly due to fewer people getting married, but also the fact that couples are finding nifty, affordable ways of getting married that are considered non-traditional. And the same thing is actually happening in jewelry stores. I know a couple of people that work in jewelry, and every once in a while when I'm in a mall or something like that, I'll pop in and talk to, jewelry store managers, things like that. And again, I was in the jewelry industry and I worked for a couple of different jewelry stores. So oftentimes I can walk in and I say, oh, I used to work in your store. I was a manager, up in different state, chat with them for a little bit and say, oh, how's business? And have you found the prices of jewelry or diamonds going up? And I talked to one woman and we were discussing, diamonds. When I was selling jewelry, the industrial diamonds or the manufactured diamonds, they weren't very pretty. Like, they weren't jewelry quality diamonds. They were mostly, you could make a diamond with extreme heat and pressure, and they would use that for like industrial stuff because it wasn't pretty enough to make gemstones out of. But now apparently they've gotten very good at it. And so now you can go in and a lot of the diamonds that they sell just to keep the price affordable, they're industrial, or not industrial, they're made diamonds, like they're manufactured diamonds. They're not even natural form diamonds. And when I went in and looked, and you're looking at a 1 carat diamond that I used to be able to sell quite a long time ago. I used to sell that anywhere between, say, $5,000 and $10,000 based on the quality. Now you're seeing like man-made diamonds that are 1 carat going for that price. And when I said, how much are the natural ones? They said, oh, a lot of the stores don't even carry them anymore above 1 carat just because it's cost prohibitive, and they end up sitting here for a while. So even the jewelry industry is feeling this hit. Now, is that all jewelry stores in all areas and all situations? No, I only talked to 1 or 2 people in the industry, but I looked at some of these manufactured diamonds. They do look pretty good. I will say that much. But they're also still very, very expensive. And when you're talking to young people today about buying a $5 or $6 or a $2 or a $3,000 diamond, a lot of young people don't have the money to put together for that. And on top of that, a lot of people just don't believe in marriage anymore. They say the decline of marriage may not seem like a big deal, but when you look at the data, it's clear that marriage has a positive effect not only on society, but on individuals. Children of married couples are healthier, perform better in school, earn more money at work, are much less likely to live in poverty, commit crime, get pregnant as a teenager, etc. Put simply, married couples are more likely to produce children that will grow up to be contributing members of society. Married individuals are also more likely to be healthier, happier, and live longer than their unmarried or cohabitating counterparts. And I agree with this, and I have no problems with that. But the problem is, as long as laws overwhelming, like, look, if you could get married and you're with someone for 6, 7, 5, whatever years, and you decide to go your own ways, and men didn't get punished for it, then I could say, okay, well, maybe marriage is okay. But then again, what's the point of marriage? Like, if you're not going to try to stay together, if you're just treating it as it's kind of a temporary thing, we just get divorced if we don't like each other, what's the point of getting married? And I think more people, and especially young people, are seeing this, and they're just going, what's the point? So they're living together more, and they're deciding to go their separate ways when things don't work out. And this is hurting families, and it is hurting children. It's definitely hurting kids. I mean, look at all the issues we're having with young people today and really struggling in society. They're unhappy. They're bitter. They feel like they were lied to by the previous generation saying, go to college and just get a degree and you'll be able to do your dream job and make lots of money. And they're finding out that's not so true. So what is the point of marriage then anymore? There really doesn't seem to be, because nobody really wants to work on anything. Something gets tough, something gets difficult. You get in an argument with your friend, or maybe you go on a date and she wasn't quite perfect, or he wasn't quite perfect. And they just go, I may have slept with him, but I'll start over again, and start over again, and start over again, repeat until she's in her 30s, 2 kids with 2 different baby daddies, a body count that's triple digit, burnt and fried out, and guys by then are like, nah, forget it, I'm good. As a matter of fact, let me pull this up, because I wasn't gonna pull this up, but I just thought of this. This is I got this on Twitter. Let me pull up the volume to it. Now this is, I guess, from one of these dating shows, and this is literally right after this guy proposed to her. And I'm going to play it so you can. This is exactly what I'm talking about right here.
Marshall, I can't love you because I'm attracted to Josh. I just saw Josh, and there is some chemistry.
So what was the talk about?
It was him basically confessing his feelings.
What are you saying to me right now?
I don't want to be with you anymore, and
You want to be with Josh?
I will find that out.
Okay, so do you want to be with Josh? I'll find that out. She's not even like, okay, so Josh says he has feelings for her, and she hasn't been with him. Again, this is a TV show. I don't even know what TV show this is from. But coming across the clip was kind of interesting. And she's like, well, I'm going to drop you a sure thing, a guy that has proposed to me and gave me an engagement ring. I'm going to drop you so I can get a shot at Josh because he said he liked me. So she's willing to throw everything away just for a shot at a different guy that maybe, I don't know, maybe he's a level up. Maybe he's better looking. Maybe he's got more money. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's butterflies there. Who knows?
Okay, Jackie. That is very hurtful.
I'm just telling you, Marshall, that I just can't be with you. I can't.
I would like the ring back because I don't think that you deserve it. Because you should never have accepted my proposal.
Well, I'm gonna keep the ring because I accepted it because I wanted to marry you.
Okay, how stupid is that logic? You proposed to me, I kept the ring, and I'm going to keep it because I accepted it. What? Yeah, no kidding, you accepted it. But you need to give it back because you're saying no to the marriage. You're saying no to my proposal. It's just you're saying it now X amount of time after you've had the ring and I've already given it to you. Can you imagine that, a guy getting down on his knee and proposing, and the woman taking the ring saying, no, but she puts on the ring and walks away? You'd be like, you can't do that. That's literally what she's doing. It just took her longer to say no, and between putting the ring on her finger and walking away saying no, she said yes at one point. And so she's going to keep the ring because I accepted it and because I wanted to marry you, but I don't anymore. And you know what? I feel for this guy because this guy is like, you know what? I don't even want to fight about this because he's obviously upset and hurt. He's not going to even get into the ring. He's just like, I'm going to just walk away.
Everything I told you in that pod was real.
And you know what? I don't even care. You can keep the ring. Every time you look at that thing, whatever you do with it, I want you to be reminded that you passed up on something great.
Now that was the stupid move right there. Okay. That was the stupid move right there. Because every time she looks at it, she's going to be like, man, this is worth some money. I'm going to sell this. And she's not going to think about him. She's not going to look down at her finger and go, oh, he was such a great guy. I miss him. I made the wrong choice. That's living in La La Land. That's living in fantasy world. Everybody wants to believe that. The fact is, especially people like this, when they move on, they don't care about you. She accepted this guy's proposal and then dumped him on his head. And that's where this brother gets it wrong. And I feel for him. I do, because he's so upset and pissed off right now. He's just like, whatever, I just want to get out of this situation. The truth is, he shouldn't have said you can keep it. He should have said, all right, well, I'll contact my attorney and have them reach out to you, and I'm going to sue you for the ring. That's what I would have done. But again, that's not where his head is right now. His head is, wow, she just broke up with me, broke off the engagement with me, is keeping the ring, is talking to some other dude. That's where his head is right now. And I had this article. I'm not going to read through it, but it's just, why are men not marrying these days? And it's updated April 14th of 2023. Today is like the 17th. It was updated just a couple of days ago. But like the thing is, they go through here and it's like, is it really worth it? Like, what is the point? Everybody's living together. Everybody just gives up at the drop of a hat. No one tries anymore. No one really believes it anymore. Men especially get punished on the bailout. Like, what did that dude do? He ended up losing an engagement ring. He did nothing wrong. Now, what if he had actually gotten married to her and then she said, oh, you know what? Josh told me he likes him. And again, it's a TV show. It's a crappy TV show. But this stuff happens in the real world, off TV. What happens if they're married and she comes home one day and says, hey, you know what? This coworker of mine or this other guy I know at the gym named Josh, he's really hot and he told me he likes me. I want to explore that. I want a divorce. I want half, even if it's only been a year or two. I want half, and I'm going to keep the ring, and I'm going to keep the car, and I want half the bank account, and I want half your retirement savings, and I want you to pay me alimony if you live out in whatever. And maybe it doesn't happen just like that, but the whole thing is that guy on the drive home from work that day was like, maybe going to crack a beer, watch a little NFL, relax at the house, cook dinner with the wife, do the old in and out, things are good, play with the dog, bang, and just like that, his world is shattered. It's over instantly. And what recourse do men have? Nothing. And women know that. It's too much power. It's too much power for women to have. So men are out, men are saying no, men are saying, hey, you know what? I'm not spending money, I'm not getting married. And it's a huge win for men. Because only when men stop saying yes to women, stop saying yes to marriage, stop getting women pregnant without marrying them, just keep it in your pants or get a snip or be careful. Only then, in the end, when there's population decline and society's falling apart, and maybe this will never happen either. Maybe it's the same as that guy hoping that she looks down at her hand and says, oh, I miss him and I should have kept him. Maybe we men that are like, so society is going to collapse, and they're going to come back and say, oh, we need you strong men to save us. That'll probably never happen. It'll probably go right down into the toilet, everything will crash and burn, and they'll never come a-calling for us. That's okay. Because while society may lose and everything else, at least we won't be part of the problem. At least we won't get sucked into it. At least we men on a personal level will be okay. So, loss for society, loss for the world, win for men. But it's not our fault. This is just the response to what's been happening to us in society. Guys, I will leave it there. Don't forget to join us on betterbachelor.locals.com. We've got a great community over here of like-minded men. We have great conversations. If you're a member, if you're a supporter, you can share all types of news stories and stay up to date on some of the interesting stuff that you can't share on YouTube or all the other places. So make sure to join us over there. I've got podcasts and videos over there as well. So come on over and join us today. And you can just become a member just by signing up. I mean, that's free. But it gets really interesting, and you get a lot of information from it if you become a supporter. So I'd appreciate it if you would today, and we'll see you in the next one.